everyone, it's Lee Foster here of Revitalise Connecting People, and welcome to the next episode of Revitalise Meets. I get the chance to meet many business owners from across the globe, and we delve in to their challenges, their achievements, their business story, top tips, and much, much more. Yes, we really delve in to find out a lot about these wonderful business professionals. Today, I have the great pleasure to be catching back up, or welcome back to Revitalise Meets, the story so far, a connection that has been helping many contacts across the globe by embracing the power of online. He's been building their confidence with public speaking, and he has won just a handful of business awards over the last few years. He's been a great connection in the RBC. He's been a great connection to me over the last couple of years. We've had some great conversations on stage and off stage. And he's also helped me speak clearly and better online and on stage as well. From the first early days, when he was sitting at one of my first events with his pad of A4 paper, you'll laugh at this, and he watched every single piece that I did on stage. And then after the event, pulls me to one side and went, "Lee, would you mind I have a chat with you?" And he literally dissected everything I did and gave me the pluses and the negatives that I could work on to be better. Absolutely first class. Can you please welcome with me the one, yes, but the only Mr. Kyle Murtagh of Confidence by Design. Kyle, how are you?
I'm very well, Lee. I'm very well. And it does take me back when you say that. It was quite bold of me to do that, actually, wasn't it? Just to come up to a stranger and say, "You did this crap, but you should work on it." No, I'm kidding. There were lots of positives. But it was great that you took some of that on board. And it's been great to be part of the Revitalise community for the last 4 years now. Crazy how time goes by.
4 years. Yeah, it was. But you were the only one, the first person to do that. But I thought it does take some gumption to do that and to pull somebody to one side who's got an audience at the time of, I think it was 100 people at the marquee at Hamilton Park Racecourse. But I appreciate it and I respected it as well, because, you think you're doing a good thing, but it's also great to get the third eye of somebody else watching you at the time to actually pick up those little hand movements or the body language and just all those little bits really brought it all together. So thanks again.
No, my pleasure. And there's really two groups of people, isn't there? There's those who don't want to hear any feedback at all. They don't care what you've got to say. They're stuck in their ways. They're happy with what they're doing. And then there's those who are always striving to improve. And you certainly you still are still striving to improve. I did that to quite a few people. When I was first starting my business, I had no contacts, nothing. So I was trying to generate some clients. I actually looked online for motivational speakers or professional speakers, watched some of their videos, evaluated them, and sent them an email with feedback. And I think I got maybe like 2 replies out of 80. So that goes to show not everybody's open to it. But hey, it was bold, and it's what you've got to do when you're getting started, to just try and get that movement and momentum going, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to. You have to try and stand out from the crowd, and you've got to be doing something that's a little bit different that's in there as well. And just going to say hello to Robert McGowan. He's just joined us online on LinkedIn as well. And if you are online, please send your messages through in the chat area. That's greatly appreciated. So, Kyle, we caught up many years ago, and that was at the Champagne Bar in Glasgow at the Central Station.
Yeah, wild morning, that one. Wild morning.
Certainly was. Would you mind telling everybody and really tell myself a little about your business and where it is at present, the story so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So my business is called Confidence by Design. And what I do is I help people find their confidence when they're speaking. And that could be publicly. It could be just in meetings one-to-one. It could be at networking. But predominantly, I do it through the art of public speaking. Because ultimately, if you can speak in front of 100 people with confidence, every other form of communication in your life becomes that bit easier. I've been going for 4 years now, and I'm very pleased to say I'm at the stage in my business where I'm getting really consistent. I'm getting lots of good opportunities. I'm on the verge of seriously thinking about maybe bringing someone on to help grow my business. So it's a case of, what role do they go into? How do I want to do it? Do I want to take them on board fully or make it a franchise? All of these exciting questions are sort of floating in my head right now, which is really rewarding because, like I said, when I first met Lee, didn't know anyone, no connections at all. Was making zero every single month, and it's great to have made it grow so far. Very rewarding, as all business owners know, when you can see your efforts getting somewhere, reaching somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a great story, and I've actually spoken to many of the people you've been working with and helping them, but also seeing your business sort of grow, develop, expand. And I think as well with online, it's sort of expanded your reach even further now that you're starting to speak to a lot more people. Now, the biggest challenge that we've had in the last couple of years is embracing this online world that we're living in right now. What's been your biggest challenge over the past 2 years, and how did you overcome that? Because it's great you're
Yeah.
helping other people with their challenges, but what was your challenge?
Well, being a public speaking coach, the public have not been there to speak to for quite some time over the last couple of years. So my biggest challenge was finding a way to make what I do work online. And of course, it was moving, it was changing in the direction of virtual speaking and becoming an expert in that field. And luckily, a lot of the skills that apply in public speaking apply when you're speaking to a camera as well. And I'd also been creating videos for my business for the last couple of years too. So it wasn't such a huge leap or change for me. It was a change in terms of taking my in-person workshops online and learning all about that. That was certainly probably the biggest challenge, I would say. And I'm sure you remember at the start of the pandemic, Lee, no one wanted to do anything. No one wanted to invest in anything. Everybody was, shutting their shop, playing it safe. So just through that period of time and still finding ways to generate opportunities and income was something I was quite proud of. And I've definitely been able to strengthen my business and my reach from this. It's been beneficial for me overall, the pandemic. It's really pushed me in many ways to get better and be more efficient and more effective with my training. So I'm really proud of that.
That's a great point you raised there as well, Carl, because many people have used it, the sort of vehicle, as a learning curve, as a chance to take a reflected step back and then adapt to new ideas and even, feel uncomfortable being comfortable. That type of trying to go into different areas and thinking, I'll give that a go. I'll give it a try. And I think testament to yourself for putting yourself out there in the arena and trying some new things that come from that.
Yeah.
Over the years, what's been your biggest, we'll talk about the challenges that you've had over the last couple of years, but what's been your biggest achievements? Because I've heard of many over the last couple, and many of those are awards. Would you mind just expanding on the achievements that you've had in those 2 years?
Yeah, sure. So last year, I became the European champion of public speaking, and there's an international speech contest of an organization called Toastmasters International, and about 30,000 people compete in this contest for the World Championship of Public Speaking every year. I made it to the last 28 last year in the world. I got beat in the semi-finals, learned a lot from it, looking forward to coming back and making it further next year. But that's probably been my most prestigious achievement to date. I've also won speech evaluation contests. So the way that works is there's a person delivers a speech, and then there's about 8 different competitors who deliver feedback to that individual. So just like I did with you, Lee, on that day, pointing out what someone did well, where they can improve. I've won the UK and Ireland Championship for that twice, including this year as well. So those have been very much speaking-orientated accolades. In terms of inside the business itself, one thing I'm really proud of is a group I've created called the Confidence Club. And what we do is we meet up monthly and practice our public speaking skills. And what was frustrating me, this kind of goes before the pandemic, Lee, was that I would do these one-off half-day workshops on public speaking, and people would love them. They'd be great on the day, but then 7 months down the line, nothing will have changed, right? People will have went back to their old habits. So I wanted to create a place where people could consistently practice, because if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So that's what the Confidence Club has become. We do workshops every month. We give members opportunities to deliver presentations and get feedback. And I'm really proud of the community I've been able to build there. So that's a big win for my business too.
It's such a good thing because it's true. People have that workshop and then wait maybe 7 months down the line and don't implement anything whatsoever. But it's
Yeah.
also so important that you accountability,
Yes.
put that into place and doing what you're doing and try to get better at it because
Mhm.
it's again another good point. If you don't practice what you preach, how
Mhm.
can you get better at it? It's
Yeah.
something I talked about yesterday as well, Carl, because I'm training to do the half marathon, right? The Great Scottish Run in October.
Mhm.
You're well, a very experienced runner, but for me, I've got to put a lot of training in every few days to build up my stamina to get better at it, and then my time will be better, hopefully in October, and I'll complete the 13.1 miles.
Mhm.
But if you're not consistently doing something with it every week or each day, how can you improve on it? How can you be involved in it? I think
Yeah.
that's such a good thing. Yeah.
100%. And I get it because public speaking is not everybody's life like it is for me, right? I love this. I get people have a lot of other things they've got to do, but just finding a way that you can practice on a frequent basis and you do evaluate yourself. I mean, even when you go along to a networking event and you have your 60-second pitch, deliver it. And then afterwards, ask yourself, did that land the way I intended? Did I get the reaction I was looking for? Were my words coming across well? Was it clear? Now, maybe you might think it was clear, but what you should do is ask someone else to see if it was clear, right?
Right.
Because that's important too. Get other people's perspectives on things. And it's just that desire to improve that propels people forward and makes them seek out the opportunities to practice, to develop. And it's so, so important.
That's another great point as well. It's actually, why not ask the people in the room with you? I always
Yeah.
encourage you to identify and work on your 1 minute pitch, elevator pitch, the 1 minute introduction, to work on something like that because it's still hard talking like that online, but it's also when you got to stand up in a crowd of people and deliver your 60 seconds. That's when the bubbles start going in your stomach and you get that sort of that way inclined. Now, there's a question we just talked about there briefly. I'm going to digress here slightly, right? Is that you show people how to speak clearly, confidently online and on stage in a group of
Yeah.
people. Who do you go to? How do you train?
Yeah, I have a coach as well. I have a coach too. So Prez Vasilev is the 2013 world champion of public speaking. He's a guy from Bulgaria who has moved over to Chicago in the States, and I get coaching from him. Now that is specifically on that public speaking contest I was referring to. But the skills I learned there, I can apply to my workshops, can apply to my own speaking, can apply to everything. So I have a coach. I practice what I preach in terms of coaching. And then also for myself, I am always asking for feedback. After any team training session I do, I send out a feedback form. What did you like? What did you not like? What was missing? How could this be improved? I'm always searching for ways to improve, and I'm asking my audience. You are never too good to ask your audience how you can improve. And that's something that we can all do. It can be on a micro level, asking your colleague at work, how can I improve at my sales, for example, or my admin skills. It can be asking your family members, your friends. We can seek out feedback if we want to, but most of us, we just avoid it, right? We don't want to hear anything. We just want to do our pitch and go home. But again, you're missing your opportunity to grow by not hearing feedback in terms of how you could potentially improve. So that's how I develop.
I love that we're hide away from that negative. No, we don't want to hear the negative. Don't want to talk about the negative part of it. Just think about the positive side of it. No, look at the little bits that you can improve on, and it works out better for you as well. And some great points there shared as well, Kyle. So we talked about working online. Now you've bridged the gap across the same as myself with working with many people across the pond, the United States. We've got the global arena has been opened up so much. How have you embraced it and how have you adapted your business to an online world? Are you still doing a 50-50 split, or is it more one way or the other?
I think it is probably more 70-30 split, to be honest. As in 70% probably still online. I don't really have one-to-one meetings in person too much anymore. I mean, online is just better for both parties in terms of efficiency, really, and you can still get a really good connection with people online, in my opinion. In terms of the training itself, a lot of organizations want to do it online now, They want to do the training online so team members from all over the world can tune in, which I get, which is absolutely fine. I do prefer the in-person because then you get the reaction, you get the energy from the crowd and all of that good stuff. So I love when in-person stuff does come up. I'm going up to Aberdeen next week to do training in person, for example. But the online is still probably the predominant part of my business right now, let's say, yeah.
It makes it so much easier. I think what people find though with working online now, and the reason I'm asked that question for is I see a lot of a shift going back towards face-to-face, which I respect and I can see what's happening. But I think we've lived in an online virtual hybrid role for the last couple of years. Why lose this tool that has made it a lot easier for traveling? You can instantaneously get in touch with someone quickly from across the country and the globe. I mean, we've spoken to many people in South Africa, Joburg, the likes of the Netherlands, Canada. It's opened up many areas. So I'm a big believer in having that good 50-50 coverage. It gives you the best of both worlds, and have that as part of your toolbox as such in your business.
Well, you got to play both. You got to play both. If you're just going straight back to in person and that's all you're doing and you're discarding online altogether, you've not learned from the last 3 years. Like this is the way the world is going. This is the direction we are going in. More efficient, more online. People are probably not going to want to meet you up as much as they did in the past, which is a shame in many ways, but it's the reality of the situation. So you've got to have that online presence. And this is why, and the importance of having videos, of posting online is so important too, because this is how people are seeing you now. They're not seeing you in the office or at the networking events so much. They are seeing you online. So you've got to be there.
Yeah, very correct. And videos and being confident and talking to the camera as well, all these extra tools. And this is a great way of lining into where I would like to ask you next is, what are your top 3 tips? What are your golden nuggets of information that you can provide to everybody who's watching and listening today, for preparing to speak to an audience online or offline? And just before you do that, big thank you to Mr. Ian McPherson, who's just put on there. He's attending Kyle's workshops, highly recommended. And Ian's just put a little chat in there. So good morning, Ian. Thanks for joining us today with Robert. So over to you, Kyle. What's your top 3 golden nuggets of information?
In terms of preparing for a presentation, I think one of the key things is that you have to replicate the environment you're presenting in as much as possible. So let me explain that a bit further. If you're doing in-person presentation, what you should be looking to do is you should be doing a full run through, a full practice of that presentation. But you should be doing that in a room which is as big as you've got in your house, so that you're almost replicating being on a stage. And then you should be walking around, looking over here, looking over there, like you're on the stage, almost imagining it. And the reason we want to do that is the more that we can simulate our environment, the more comfortable we will feel on the day. To give you an idea, next week I'm going to be using a flip chart in my presentation. So I've got a flip chart here in my house, and I'm writing things on that flip chart like my audience are there. If you came into the room, Lee, you'd think I was going nuts. You'd probably send me to an asylum or something. But the point is, replicate as much as possible. Now, when it's online, this is even easier. It means you've got to set up your laptop, your microphone, your camera, the way you intend to have it on the day. Hop on Zoom, Teams, whatever platform you're using, and practice on there. Practice sharing your screen. Practice closing your screen. Practice interacting with the audience who are not there. All of these reps will serve you on the day. The biggest problem people do is they don't put in the time. They don't put in the time to practicing, and then the big day arrives and they stumble and they stutter and they get mixed up. Their slideshow doesn't work and they wonder why. You didn't do the work beforehand. That is what separates the good speakers, or the bad speakers, from the good speakers, I should say.
Yeah, they're really good points to have on that one as well. And I think it's so that, I mean, I remember, and we're talking about this, when I spoke on stage at the hashtag events, and we went through a full setup of preparing, get my words out there, preparing the actual talk itself, the start, the middle, the end piece.
Yes.
And then I remember standing in my living room practicing in front of a mirror and
Mhm.
literally walking the room. I didn't have a PowerPoint or a slide, a flip chart or anything. I just wanted to talk to the room and just visualize people in front of me
Yeah,
and to
yeah.
deliver that in a way that you could. And I think it's so important because it's all that movement that you have. I mean, I'm the same now. I have a space in my office that I have an area I can walk about in when I'm talking online. It
Yeah,
doesn't make you feel too clamped in or you're sitting down or something. It makes it a bit easier. Yeah.
100%. And to add to that, instead of doing it in front of a mirror, another thing you can do is actually record yourself, right?
Yeah.
Film a video of you practicing, and then you can watch it back. And the beautiful thing there is you're seeing things from the audience's perspective. Maybe you thought you were being clear, but the video shows a different story. So you can look at that section, change it about, rewrite it, do whatever you got to do to make it more clear. It's a form of getting feedback. You're getting feedback from a camera instead of a person. But yeah, it's an easy thing to do nowadays. Take advantage of the tech we've got.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm thinking back when I was in sales. I was working at a holiday company and we're based out in offices in Uxbridge. And that was my first experience of my sales president from the United States saying, what we're going to do today is each one of your team members is going to record you and then we're going to watch you back from doing your training presentation that you do for travel agents. I was like, right. Well, I've never really had anybody video me or actually see myself talking. That was my first ever time. And it's such a daunting fact. But afterwards, it's so true what you're saying. I looked at the video and went, yeah, I could do differently there. And identified that I said always about 17 times. So I
Right.
said, you paraphrase words, but you felt comfortable saying those words. And it's not making you think about the way you're talking. You automatically go to automatic pilot.
Mhm.
I think that's another good point of actually
Yeah.
watching yourself back on video. It's such an eye opener.
And when you watch yourself back, and this is something people forget, you also see what you've done well, what you're doing
Very
great.
true. Yeah, very true.
There's always something, there's always a positive, and that can actually give you more confidence going into your next presentation, your next sales meeting, whatever it is. So there's always positives in the footage as well. And we have to remember we are our own worst critic at the same time. So we have to look at things in perspective. But yeah, I don't know why you would not record yourself and watch it back. You have to just get over that anxiety about hearing your own voice, about seeing yourself, because the gems you will receive from opening up that box, from opening up that camera and seeing what it's got to say are invaluable.
Brilliant. Thanks, Kyle. There's some great pointers there. I hope you all take those on board. I hope Robert and Ian are both with us at the minute. And please share your thoughts in the chat area if you don't mind. I mean, if there's something that you're thinking about or you want to share that, please put it in the chat area as well. So thanks for getting involved today as well, as always. So what's next, Kyle? What's next around the corner for you? What's the next door of opportunity that's ready to be knocked on, my friend?
Next for me, well, in terms of business, like I said near the start, I'm looking to grow. I want to make Confidence by Design more than just me. So I am looking to grow. I'm probably going to be looking to take on a salesperson, I think, seriously between the end of the year and maybe the first 6 months. Around that sort of time, I'm going to be seriously thinking about that. And that's the plan of expansion to grow, generate more business through having someone else, going to the networking events, promoting, etc., etc. I also want to grow my confidence club more, bring more people on who will have a desire to improve at their speaking and reach new heights. I love doing that. I want to grow the club. And eventually I want to be getting onto the big stage, the big keynote stage in front of, well, my big goal is 20,000 people. And I might have to go to North America to do that, which I'm not afraid to do. So that's the direction I want to go in with the business. And of course, the World Championship is something I always like to compete into, and I want to have a real good crack at becoming a world champion next year.
Brilliant. Give him a good run for the money as well. And I think you do a great job on that one. And, it's true. If you visualize it and you focus on what you want to achieve, it's either a 3-year goal, 5-year goal, or even a 6-year stretch goal. And you focus on it. I believe, I think we all believe that you'll probably get there easily in the next few years anyway. You will make it happen, Kyle. You will indeed. If everybody's been watching and listening today and they could help you with any of those elements or want to ask you any questions about Confidence Club, how can they contact you? What's the best route of action to get in touch with Kyle Murtagh?
Yeah, I like to be as contactable as possible. So really, if you type in my name, Kyle Murtagh, you'll find a LinkedIn page. Feel free to message me anytime if you've got any questions about public speaking. Happy to answer them. Got a YouTube channel as well. You can check out some videos there if you want to. My website is confidencebydesign.co.uk. Send me a message in the contact form if you like. And you can even reach my phone number as well. It's on the website and on my LinkedIn and all these other places. But any questions at all, more than happy to answer them and have a virtual coffee anytime.
Brilliant, Kyle. I would highly recommend everybody who's been watching and listening, or you're watching this video back on one of the channels on LinkedIn or on my YouTube channel, to reach out to Kyle to ask those questions, because you don't know unless you ask. And if you ask, you get the answers that you need for your business. And especially if you're looking to speak online or in person and really build that confidence, highly recommend speaking to Kyle and chatting about the Confidence Club as well, most importantly. Kyle, thank you so much for joining me today on Revitalise Meets, the story so far.
My pleasure. It's always an honor to be in the purple room with Lee Foster. You can't beat that on a Tuesday morning. So yeah, thanks for having me. And
that's a new one,
yeah.
in the purple room with Lee. So thanks,
Well,
Kyle.
I should have painted my walls purple, so it would have felt like we're in the same space.
Just take a screen grab and just use the backdrop for like a virtual backdrop. So a couple of the connections have already done that as well. So all good. Thanks, Kyle. Thank you to you all for listening in this morning and for joining in as well. If you have been, thank you to Mr. Ian McPherson and to Mr. Robert McGowan for joining us as well on LinkedIn. Most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel for Revitalise Connecting People. That's Revitalise Connecting People. Click the subscribe button. There's over 100 videos, and Kyle is one of those connections in there. There's a wealth of experience and knowledge and expertise being shared from Kyle and many others on the YouTube channel. We look forward to welcoming you back to the next Revitalise Meets. And as always, from me and Kyle, remember, keep connecting, keep building those relationships up, and keep improving online and offline. Thanks very much, everybody. We'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.